What is up, Talking Nets fam, the Talking Nets family, the community, the Brooklyn community, the Jersey community, bringing it all together, bringing the whole New York City community together. And we're certainly going to be talking about that, closing the book on who are the Kings in New York, working out of Brooklyn, New York, who is running the league, number 7 back, the Slim Reaper. A lot of good stuff to talk about today. I'm Hudson Flynn. I'm here with Keith. Keith, say what's up to the people.
Yo, what up, Hudson? What's up, people? Talking Nets, episode 93. Oh, man, I had something for 93, and I think I forgot it. Damn. I'll come back to it. 93 was a good year. But anyway, yeah, like Hudson was saying, I think people are starting to realize, like with KD coming back and how good the Nets played, there's no more narratives you can use. We had the Nets and the narratives episode where we ran through some, and there's already 5 more narratives to add to that. And it's just laughable as Nets fans now. We're just like, enough with the excuses, enough with the cop-outs, enough with trying to figure out how this isn't going to work. Nets fans' energy is just on how this is going to work. And I can't wait for the next month and a half to pass so we can get into the playoffs and it can get really real and it gets warm out here in New York. And we're in these streets with that jersey you have on, the black and white jersey, and me with this James Harden MVP shirt, and we're just flexing and we're just living in it, our world, Nets world.
Like I said, I sent out this tweet. I've sent it out twice in the past week, actually. Being a Nets fan is fun. This is just a good time. We've been through the hard times so that we can be here now, so that we can have all the shine, so that we can have all of the attention, so that all eyes are on us. And honestly, it seems like we're ready for it. Like, there are some teams that I think, maybe weren't ready for the bright lights, weren't fully formed, weren't, fully ready to go. Those early years of the Golden State team before they had Kerr, when LeBron first got to Cleveland, they didn't know if they were fully ready. But this Nets team, we're made of veterans. We're made of youth that know what they're doing. And we've got two of the best players in the league, 2 top 5 players in the league. But at this point, and what we're going to be talking about a lot on this podcast, it might not be unreasonable to put Kyrie in that conversation as well with how he's been playing. And I don't want to waste any more time on this intro. We're going to hit a lot of our news and notes at the end, but let's get right into it, Keith. We're talking about the Knicks game, and we closed the door. We closed the door on all these conversations about who runs New York, all these things. Are the Nets ever going to have enough fans? Are they ever going to do anything? Are they going to be able to do anything? There's no Nets fans, whatever. It's over, Keith. Season sweep. Hopefully don't play them again. I don't even want to see them in the playoffs. I'm not interested in that. I don't really care. I'd rather play some more interesting team in the first round. And it just seems like it's just over. And the Nets just took the heart and soul out of that Knicks team on Monday night. And Keith, I'll let you take it away with your thoughts, but I'm just going to say right off the bat, Kyrie Irving every day, and we've been saying this, looks more and more like a 6'3" Kobe Bryant. And it's not even a joke anymore. It's not even a bad comparison. This is, when I see him, I see number 8. I see number 24 in every aspect of his game. And I want to lead off with that, Keith. When you watch Kyrie, are you thinking the same thing? Because when I see it, I see the same game. I see the mentorship. I see the Mamba mentality. I see the killer, the ruthlessness from Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, Kyrie's got the little baby fro, and by the time we get into the playoffs, he's going to have the Kobe fro. I see it. I see what he's doing. I see the moves. He looks just like Kobe. Obviously, we all know his relationship with Kobe. It kind of hurt me the other day thinking about, how when he won the championship with Cleveland, he called Kobe right away after they won it because Kobe and him had that conversation about what it was like to win it. And I thought about this year with Kyrie having arguably his best season ever and not being able to call Kobe after we win the finals. And I was like, damn, it's going to suck. But, not to get too deep or too dark with that type of stuff, Kyrie is killing it. He does look like Kobe. I actually was in Yankee Stadium Sunday and we were playing the Bulls, and my guy, one of the bleacher creatures, Sean, is a Bulls fan. And Kyrie, I think, only had like 8 points in the first half or something like that. And I was like, yeah, Kyrie might be chilling, but Kyrie's a top 10 player in the league. And he started going off. What? No way. Kyrie ain't got the defense for you to say that. He ain't even top 15. I'm like, all right, wait on it. What happens? Next game, drops 40.
40 points.
I show
7
up
assists.
to Yankee Stadium. I never had the gall. I never had the balls. I never had the heart to walk into Yankee Stadium with a Nets jersey on. I walk into Yankee Stadium on Monday, knowing we're playing the Knicks, with my Kyrie 11 jersey on, flexing in the bleachers. I definitely got a couple boos. There's even a guy in the picture that you can see he's looking at me. He's just mad. Big Knicks energy. And I told my man Sean, I'm like, what did I tell you about Kyrie? Top 10 player in the league. And then he put 40 on the Knicks that night. And he said, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And I just thought about the 93. The 93 I was going to use for episode 93 is the 93 mile an hour club. You John Boy Media fans that follow John Boy Media Instagram probably remember that. That shot our Instagram up, and that gives me a chance to shout out BTSB, BTS Bill, Jersey Shore. I know you're listening. That was his idea. All right, now back to the Knicks. They ain't been good since 1993. And we've got a voicemail from our guy Richie that I have to play because he said a line in this that I'm like, yo, that was just perfect.
What's going on, Talking Nets? It's Richie, a.k.a. Brooklyn County on Twitter. And ahead of this whole Nets versus Knicks thing, because I've been seeing the back and forth on Twitter, and this may be a little longer than it should be, but I wanted to get this off right quick because I was going to call them anyway. These Knicks fans, they'll talk about how they the kings, but we have the king spoils. We have the superstars. We have the national headlines. We have the expectations of bringing a championship back to New York. We the ones that made a super team in New York. All right, we the ones, the Knicks fans, they want to talk about coaching out. We the ones that showed them what winning coach looks like with Kenny Atkinson and D'Lo and those boys. And now, ironically enough, they're doing that with Theo Pinson coming off their bench, ironically enough. But I really don't embrace the jealousy no more. I'm speaking on it now because there's so much going on social media, but I don't embrace the older brother jealous of the little brother's newfound success kind of thing that they've been doing, all year. When they on the back of the New York Post or something, they want to tweet us, or better yet, when they got to 500 after I think they beat the Kings, when they got to 500 for the first time in like 20 years or something, their fans outside of Penn Station yelling, fuck Brooklyn, fuck Brooklyn, fuck Brooklyn. And then there's the whole James Harden thing when he was shouting out Nets fans. And he wasn't even talking about the Knicks. I don't even think we played the Knicks that night. And he's over, and the Knicks fans are all on Twitter, man.
Rich, you the man. The message went longer, but we don't have enough time to play the whole thing. But I like what he said. They act like they're the kings, right? We run New York forever. We're the kings. But we got all the king's spoils. Think about that. We got everything that you wanted. The players, the free agents that you wanted, that you dreamed of, they came here. The culture that actually got built, the New York hip-hop culture, the mecca, the center of the basketball world is now the Nets world. That's what you wanted for years. And the team from New Jersey came across the river, through the tunnel, over the bridge, and built it a little further south than you. And now you're just salty. Now you're just mad because it's finally coming together. And what I laugh about with this team is that, like, we have an embarrassment of riches. I don't know. In Sean Marks, we trust. I don't even want to call it luck. When you're able to get LaMarcus Aldridge, which none of us were expecting, and he's playing like he's playing, it's just laughable. I'm just laughing about it. When you're able to pick up Alize Johnson and get production out of him right away, it's laughable.
And we got to give a shout out to him because when the Nets were down in this Knicks game too, and Alize Johnson really gave this team a spark, and he really just carried them, especially at the beginning of the fourth quarter when the Nets got phenomenal minutes out of their second unit while Kyrie was on the bench, letting him rest up. He played 37 minutes that night, but he got a little bit of rest. He got 3 minutes at the top of the fourth quarter before he decided to come in and just shut everyone down. And I know we already had this Kyrie talk, but oh my God, when he crossed up Julius Randle, when Kyrie in his spot on the right wing had Julius Randle looking the wrong way.
Where are you going? I saw your tweet. Where are you going, Julius?
Where is Julius going? Where Brooklyn at? I don't think he knows where he's at. Oh my God. Julius Randle was looking the wrong way. And then later in the game, he did the exact same move on another Knicks player. I forget who it is. Crossed him up, looking the wrong way, hits the three, and he looks right at the camera as he's running back down court. And he thought about it. He almost did the Dame time.
I
He was about to
love
put
that.
2 fingers on the wrist. He was so close. He looked at the camera and then he smiled. He gave him the smirk and he said, yeah, that's me. It's Kyrie time. And that's another thing that I really do just want to put to bed is this is what this Nets team is. A Nets team that is certainly not at full strength. We didn't have KD and we didn't have James Harden. And we'll talk about the really unfortunate James Harden news when it comes to his injury. But Kyrie went out there and led a phenomenal bench unit. And that's what I have to give a shout out to now, because we talk about Kyrie, we talk about KD, we talk about James Harden being the MVP, all that stuff. But for as much credit as we do give our bench unit and our depth players and the players that aren't our big three, I think they deserve more credit, because Jeff Green, another game, that was his third straight, putting up 20 plus points. He puts up 23 points.
Bro, what did I say on the
rebounds.
Monday episode? I said Jeff Green had back-to-back 21-point games. He'll go for another 20 against the Knicks. That's laughable. How do we have veteran Jeff Green on this team starting? Like he's on the vet minimum. Like, come on, yo.
And we just keep getting it. Joe Harris, Joey Fundamentals put up 8 rebounds to go along with 2 or 3 from 3, 16 points. It's ridiculous, the wealth of riches that Sean Marks has been able to accumulate. And that's why we're able to win in the way that we do. And that's why when you see a close game, it's because we're missing 2 or 3 of our big players. And we got that carrying energy from the one that we got playing. And then the other players that are, working around them know exactly what to do and exactly when to step up. And that's what happened in this game with Kyrie, with the bench unit, with everybody, because we only got James Harden for 4 minutes. And it was really unfortunate because we went into this game thinking there was a possibility we could see scary hours on the court. Everyone was waiting for that update from the Nets, and then it came. And it got scary because we didn't have KD, but James Harden was going to play. It's okay. James Harden plays 4 minutes, comes up limp, looks at the bench. Steve Nash takes him right out of the game, and they would evaluate him. They give him another scan, and he's going to be out at least from when this podcast comes out, another 7 days. And that hurts. That's no good. But I'm going to let that segue us right into our next game, because when one domino falls, when one man goes down, another one arises like a phoenix coming out of the ashes. Kevin Durant, number 7, goes out against the Pelicans, doesn't start, comes off the bench in the second quarter, giving all of us a scare. And he came back and he was Kevin Durant. 17 points, 7 assists, or 7 rebounds, 5 assists, a 118% true shooting percentage. I mean, the man didn't miss a shot. He came back and it looked like the time he spent out was worth it, because he was even better than what he looked like when he went down. And Keith, I'll let you get to your thoughts in just a minute, but when I watched this game, I just thought the Nets are unstoppable. There's nothing that can stop them. And we're down James Harden, arguably the MVP, and Tyler Johnson, Landry Shamet, 2 of our snipers, and then not to mention Spencer Dinwiddie. Keith, who can stop the Nets?
No one. And who can stop KD? This is KD. KD is the best basketball player that fans have to be reminded of all the time. Like, I don't know how people forget that KD is a freak of nature that was born to play basketball. There's nobody else like KD. And I don't mean to go backwards, but we have some voicemails that I wanted to play. You guys call in. I want you guys to be heard. Sometimes it's out of order. We were doing the voicemails at the end, but I think it's better to just like throw the voicemails in before we get too far off the topic.
What's up, guys? Recording this after the Knicks vs. Nets game. This might be one of the most fun games I've watched this year. Alize Johnson finally getting minutes, playing extremely well along with Kyrie. Hope that Harden is okay. Hope that he isn't out for long. Can't wait to see KD back on the court. Jeff Green, another 20-point game. And even though we do have LaMarcus Aldridge, I feel like Steve Nash has to think about maybe closing with Claxton again. It felt like when he was on the court, the momentum was all on our side. Kyrie's 40-piece, his moves are way too nasty, and that's pretty much it. Thank you guys, and peace.
Yeah, so 2 things from that. Steve Nash. Got to give Steve Nash some credit and some love. One, I'm a baseball guy, right? I'm looking at the Yankees lineup every single day. And people are questioning Aaron Boone. Why is Aaron Hicks batting third? Why is Brett Gardner batting third? Why don't they move Clint up? It's tough to make a lineup every day. It's also tough in the NBA when you are missing your star players and you're getting new players thrown in and you're trying to figure out how these guys are going to gel. It's extremely difficult as well for a first-year head coach to say, okay, these are going to be my starters and these are going to be the rotations. And Steve Nash has done a phenomenal job with that. Yes, these players are playing above their heads. Yes, these guys are playing very well and they can't be stopped. But somebody is masterminding this, and it starts with Steve Nash. But then there's also Jacques Vaughn and Mike D'Antoni, and I don't feel like those two guys get enough love either. And when you say most fun game, right? He said this was one of the most fun games to watch. I was watching this game on my phone in Yankee Stadium, and what I loved the most, I came home and watched the highlights. I love that. This like Knicks rivalry, we don't just blow these guys out. We swept them. But the agony that these guys have to go through watching
they could do it.
Watching these close games, thinking they can win, thinking that their MVP, Julius Randle, twice with the ball in his hand, the last two games, in the final seconds, he had the ball in his hand to win it and couldn't do it. And that heartbreak, right? That's their MVP. Julius Randle's son said, I hate those. I hate those what Brooklyn Nets. You damn right, kid. Because if your daddy is playing over there for the Madison Squares in Midtown, you're gonna have to deal with us for the next few years, and it's not gonna be nice. Our world, Nets world. Now let's move on to the next game, right? So KD, we talk about KD, but man, KD. The first thing I thought about KD not starting was that when KD was dealing with the COVID nonsense and we made the free KD shirts, they broke his streak of consecutive starts in that Toronto game where we lost to Toronto in Brooklyn. It was laughable. I was about to call up Adam Silver like, what are you doing, bro? NBA leads. This is not the way to lead. So he comes off the bench for the first time or second time because of that fiasco. And like I said, this is KD. Yeah, he's going to be on like a minutes restriction. But like, not only do we have to remind fans, I guess players need to be reminded too, because how is KD being left wide open to shoot threes? And I think I saw someone say it, maybe it was on SportsCenter. They were like, he's got the brightest shoes on in the building. He's got on size 28
He's got
yellow
the size
shoes.
28 banana yellows on his feet. My man, if you can't find the 7-footer with the banana yellows on his feet, I don't know what you got to do. I don't know what kind of coaching they're doing down in the Big Easy, but it was Big Easy for Kevin Durant. And like, he's so unstoppable that like, I think sometimes NBA fans, NBA like analysts, coaches, I think they take it for granted. Like, I don't think people recognize the fact that we have never seen someone ever in the history of the NBA that can score as easily as Kevin Durant. It's just unstoppable. And Richard Jefferson was talking about it. When Kevin Durant comes down the court, you could be in his grill. You could be on top of him. And if KD wants to pull up and take that shot, he's going to hit it. It's just
you can't defend a 7-foot.
You can't defend it.
You can't.
There's no way. His release point is too high. He's too big. He's too long. It doesn't matter. And he looked 110%, and he did it on a minutes restriction. And what I love more than anything was that the Brooklyn Nets got his mom, the real MVP, Wanda Durant, sitting on the sidelines, ready to give her son a hug as soon as the game ended. It warms your heart, Keith. And I just want to talk about personally. I remember because, you know, I'm a little younger than you. And when KD gave that speech, that MVP speech, and when he said that, I was watching it, and I was actually watching it with my mom. And that became a line that my mom would use anytime I was playing sports, anytime, anything. She was like, you know, I was like, I played a big game and I was feeling myself. My mom would be like, you know who the real MVP is though, right? And she makes sure to say, yeah, this is all me. This is all me. This is give me my shine. And I just love it. I love seeing her. I just love the vibes that the Nets have. And like I said before, it's just fun being a Nets fan. It's a lovable team. Like, yeah, we're the villains because we're the best, but we got a great cast of characters. We got just some great camaraderie on this team. And I sent out a tweet last night. I said, Kyrie Irving is the best teammate in the NBA. And like, I knew that was going to get some hate. I knew that was going to generate some controversy, but I didn't. That's not why I sent it, because I knew that it's true. Every time you see a Nets player do something good, the first person to react the best, to give the biggest hug, the biggest smile, is always Kyrie Irving. And that's just so awesome to see that you have this animated, fun guy, this shooting guard, this spark plug, the most exciting, skilled player in the NBA is always there for his teammate. And it just makes me happy, just to be a Nets fan.
I love Kyrie. Kyrie's my favorite player on the team, and he's been my favorite player just from Duke and being a Jersey guy. And I love the energy he brings. And in the post game, he talks about, the relationship building and how these guys got to build chemistry. And we also saw clips from Chicago of him handing money out to kids in Chicago that are selling food, and then him getting off the bus just to meet a fan that's crying to see him. Like, Kyrie is the best, period, at everything. Like, he's the best basketball player. He's the best teammate, best friend, best son, best brother. He's dunking the ball, hanging on the rim and pointing to his family. Brooklyn together, family environment. You talked about Durant's mom, and I love to see her too. And I'm like, yes, let her come watch her boy play. It's just like, man, this whole week I felt like we are getting back to real life. People are vaccinated. Numbers are going down. Like, things are starting to get normal again, and it's beautiful to see. And I laugh when you said that about your mom using that. I pictured Mama Flynn texting you like the meme that has like "you the real MVP" that everybody used for like 5 years after that happened, like the gif of "you the real MVP," and that's great. We'll come back to that on the Mother's Day episode. But with this game, switching it up a little bit, talking about LaMarcus Aldridge, man.
22
with him
points.
dropping 22, you know what I thought, bro? Him dropping 22 and DeAndre Jordan not stepping on the court. I'm just like, yo, it's way done. Like, it's so done for DeAndre Jordan. It's LaMarcus Aldridge now. What is this? LaMarcus Aldridge's fourth game? It's like LaMarcus Aldridge now. LaMarcus Aldridge played against the Hornets, the Bulls, the Knicks, the Pelicans.
He has not played. He's played one business week in Brooklyn.
And it's official that the Nets have moved on from the DeAndre Jordan experiment. And I know we killed DeAndre. I know we killed TLC, but that is because we want to win. We want to shore up this team and make sure this team is ready for the playoff run and can hoist the trophy at the end. Back to you, Hudson.
I'm going to take you right off of this fucking TLC train. And I don't swear very often on this podcast, but for us to go from such committed TLC stands talking about, oh, he's got all his potential, he's young, first round pick, look what he did in the bubble. And for him to go out consistently badly, the ball handling, like he's got the Musa mentality.
He's turning into Musa.
Tell me how he's not. He's going out there. He's putting up numbers. He went 2 of 13 from 3. And when you have Sarah, the nicest woman on the planet, Kustok, on the Yes broadcast talking about, boy, I mean, at least he keeps shooting. It's not going to fall. And Ian Eagle and Richard Jefferson just clowning this man. Like, just take a pause to think about statistically, the Nets would have shot 62% from 3 yesterday if it wasn't for TLC. 62%. Players not named. Timothy shot 62% from 3 yesterday. TLC comes up. He's got the Musa mindset, and it's crazy that we've got this one last guy to deal with this. And I mean, it's some good comic relief, but at the end of the day, Nash has got to be looking at him and thinking, man, what are we doing? The same convo that he had with DeAndre Jordan might be the same convo that he's going to have with TLC, or it might be the same convo that the Magic had with Kem Birch. And they said, oh, you're going to go, you have the chance to play more minutes in a different city. Let's like mutually agree. We're going to waive you and you're going to get picked up by them so you can have that opportunity, because he's still a young guy. He can still contribute to a team like that. So maybe that's the route. But at this point, the route is not with TLC on the court playing any type of minutes for this team.
Let's go back, because this is probably someone's first time listening to Talking Nets. And maybe this is someone's first month or 2 months listening to our podcast. We supported TLC from the jump. Hudson speaks a little French, so there's a little French connection there. We actually saw TLC at the season ticket holders event.
I had a fun talk with him.
Before the
flexed my French on him. He was a cool dude.
What was that? January of 2019. We were taking pictures
before the pandemic.
So it was, January 2020, right before the pandemic. We were TLC supporters because we're like, this guy's a first round draft pick. Sean Marks and the Nets are going to get the potential out of him. And even in that little breakdown video that I made of Trae Young, one of the things that I say, I'm like, TLC stan, because we were TLC stans. He was supposed to be the guy coming off the bench and hitting threes and being like a scorer, and he just kind of has fallen off. And what did I say now? Maybe 2 months ago, TLC, you about to lose your job. And that's what happens. Life is not fair, but it is, like in basketball. Like after a while, you can't keep coming on the court and messing the game up. We're trying to win. And I don't feel sorry for DeAndre Jordan DMPing. I don't feel sorry for TLC throwing up bricks. TLC wouldn't even get the shot if Shamet wasn't hurt, if now Tyler Johnson wasn't hurt. Chris Chiozza is getting minutes, bro.
And he's playing good in those minutes.
I'd
gotta
rather
give him
see
some credit.
I'd rather see Lil Cheese
going out and playing good minutes.
I'd
He threw
rather
that
see Lil
lob
Cheese.
up to Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown with the tomahawk from the side. That was fire. Like, look, there's players on this team that deserve the opportunity, not to mention Alize Johnson, who has just stormed his way into Brooklyn and shown exactly what we all want to see. And I think actually we got a voicemail talking about a little bit of the Alize. Give him a sip of the Alize, like Ian Eagle said. So let's get right to that.
Yeah, and y'all better stop calling my man Alize. It's Alize, a.k.a. Lamar Jackson. Not bad for a running back.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Greg from Jersey. So I was thinking, watching Alize play over the last couple games, watching him play against Portland, I think he could be a part of the future of the Nets organization. Like, yeah, it's only been a few games, but just watching this kid and what we got him for, he's only on 10 days. I feel like we should extend him for the rest of the season, watch him play it out. And then eventually we can see if we can sign this guy, not long-term, maybe on a 1-year contract, 2-year contract, and keep it going. You know, I feel like he learning from Harden, Kyrie, and KD, it could be one of the best things to happen for our Nets organization. All thanks to none other than the great Sean Marks. Appreciate it, guys. Love the show. Let's go Nets.
They said we had no depth. They said we traded it all away. They said you can't win without depth players.
Yeah,
Alize.
right. Like we traded our young stars. Well, maybe we're about to make some new ones. Maybe we develop Alize Johnson. Maybe Nick Claxton is a star in the making. Like, come on, yo. Our world, Nets world. Stop hating.
That's
I know nobody listening to this podcast is a hater.
No, I feel like we still do need to say it because people are finding any reason. Fucking dumbass Brian Windhorst got on ESPN this morning and said, it's not going to work with the Nets because the Nets have internal problems with Kyrie's mood swings. I said, oh, we're going back to 2019?
Bro,
We're
already
going back to the China
that.
trip? Oh my God. They will find anything and everything
Kyrie,
to try
bro.
and discredit this Nets team, to discredit Kyrie Irving. And, Kyrie, mine too, is also my favorite player on this Nets team. Now that TLC is long fucking gone. He was at one point my favorite player on this Nets team, especially in the bubble.
See, Hudson used to love him. I used to
love him. He was a cool dude when I talked to him. It was good. But no, like, we support Kyrie Irving so much, like, especially on the Twitter when I'm running it, like, I got to make sure we're putting out the support for Kyrie because he deserves it. Because every time he touches the basketball, it's a Sports Center top 10 moment.
Art.
Yesterday, he broke down Aquaman, Steven Adams, just absolutely eviscerated the entire state of Louisiana. And he does that. He has at least once a night, and me running the Twitter, I love this. He has a viral moment once a night, at least, at a minimum. Yesterday, when he went up for the baseline jam and he cocked it back and he was hanging on the rim and he pointed at his family. Who else is doing that? No one.
Bro, he had a shot that he was like falling. He was falling backwards. And I don't know if he put it in with his left hand, but it was the most
ridiculous. That was in the Knicks game. He was like,
it was the most ridiculous shot.
My man was parallel to the ground throwing the shot up and it hit. It's just ridiculous. And the fact that we're having an actual conversation in April of 2021, whether for the Brooklyn Nets, the dunk of the game last night was a Blake Griffin cockback slam from Chris Chiozza or a Kyrie Irving baseline drive.
Blake can dunk?
Oh, wait, can he? Oh, that's my bad. I shouldn't have got involved
Oh,
in that
they
debate.
told me he wasn't gonna be able to dunk or something. I've been seeing him dunking. I don't know. I'm confused.
Them knees look all right. Knees look all right.
Hey, it's just because he's in a Nets jersey. I don't know. That must be it.
I love it. No, I love it. And I'm gonna let that kind of take us in because we got a lot of good vibes. Let's take it in because we're talking about narratives already. We're talking about what people are saying about the Nets, what people are saying in the media. Let's talk about one of the old favorite media staples when it comes to beef history. Kevin Durant and Draymond Green just went on KD and Eddie Gonzalez, not Eddie Johnson, something about Alizé, on their podcast, the Etceteras, and they cut it up. And it was great to hear them talk. It was great to squash some of the narratives. And I just want to give props to our guy Eddie Gonzalez, who came on this podcast and was awesome with us and everything. He kept that conversation moving and he kept it flowing. And from podcaster to podcaster, that's just impressive and hard to do. And you got to give him all the credit because he's amazing at what he does, co-hosting that podcast.
Eddie's the man, bro. Shout out to Eddie Gonzalez. If you go back, I think it was episode, I don't even know, but if you go back, Eddie was on Talking Nets. So like I said, some of you might have just come in and you missed that. But Eddie is down to earth, obviously was able to come on our show. And then he's able to talk to Kevin Durant and Draymond and keep their conversation flowing. And I actually listened to it today. Today I drove to the Bronx. I grabbed the mixer and drove to Brooklyn to tailgate Brooklyn to do a quick sound check, try and test some stuff out. Saturday, make sure you come out. I'm going to plug that again before we end this episode. But back to the podcast. The ETC's podcast with Kevin Durant and Eddie Gonzalez was great. I listened to it as I was driving from Jersey to the Bronx to Brooklyn. And they talked about everything. And you get to hear Draymond and his side of the story about that, moment that we all saw on the bench. And you hear KD. And I love that they're friends. And I love that they're talking about it. And I love that even they talked about Kyrie and his game and how effortless his game is and how natural his game is. And then they also talked about something that I talked about on this podcast, right? A couple podcasts ago, I said to y'all, I'm not an analyst. I'm a fanalist, AKA I'm just a fan of this. I never played basketball past 13-year-old AAU Ocean Breakers. I don't know the game that deep, but I love the game. I love watching basketball. I think the NBA is king. You guys know I'm a big Yankee fan, but I know that the NBA is much greater than Major League Baseball. And these guys on the podcast talked about, the deeper side of the game. Draymond can really break down the NBA. And KD is a guy that laughs at these podcasters and these analysts and these reporters that try to talk basketball on that level that they can't talk and that try to talk numbers and analytics that they can't talk. There's just a different level of understanding in the NBA.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Hudson and I do not come on Talking Nets like, well, we should be running more pick and rolls. And now that we have Aldridge, he should be posting up. And I don't know why we're not switching on. We don't do that. We don't do that because that's not our lane. This is Talking Nets. We're a Brooklyn Nets fan podcast. Like you're talking to two fans and everybody that listens are fans. If you want talk like that, you should, I don't know, go somewhere else. I don't even know if it exists, but listen to that podcast. The ETCs with Kevin Durant, Eddie Gonzalez. It just came out with Draymond Green today, April 8th. And I enjoyed it. It's a little bit over an hour and it was a good conversation.
And when Eddie was promoting it, someone was in his comments. Another great thing about Eddie, he's a born and bred Twitter troll. So he responds to everyone, which is fun. Someone said, when are you going to get KD and Harden on the pod together? And he responded, he said, this is me trying to convince KD to get on that podcast. And it was the video, the video of Draymond hyping up KD.
Yeah.
Like yelling in his face.
Yeah.
So I think that's happening.
They talked about that on the pod. They talked about that on the pod. They
said that. And
they don't remember. They don't remember.
No one can guard you because it
was just hype before a game. Draymond tapping on KD's shoulders and gassing him up. And KD said he was enjoying it because people don't gas KD up like that. And he was like, yeah, I know. I'm out here like that. And that turned into another popular meme. We talked about the real MVP meme / GIF. Draymond and KD also have another, or KD has another popular meme GIF with Draymond. And it's good to just hear them talk about it and get the inside of like what Steve Kerr said after it, what the Warriors organization said. And these two guys as brothers that won championships together, that played on the same team together, can actually go on a platform like a podcast and clear the air and create their own narrative now. So the media can't run with it. And KD said that was the biggest thing about it. He was like, oh, I knew the vultures were going to come in and spin this and try and divide it or divide the team. And I'm kind of glad they did, because that started the talk about, oh, KD's leaving. And that got my little brain thinking, there's a small chance he might come to Brooklyn.
Here we are now, but I'm going to let us segue us into James Harden and his impact on Brooklyn, having only been here for a little while, already getting a mural put up outside the Barclays Center.
MVP.
Got the MVP mural. It's a shame. I hope this injury doesn't hurt his MVP candidacy too much, because he really has deserved it. He earned it. He's played so many minutes. It's ridiculous.
Bro, they want Jokic to win it so bad. I'm not beat for that. I'm not beat for that.
I'm so out on that. That's just not even funny.
Harden will come back.
Jokic winning that.
He's out for 10 days. Harden will come back and be Harden. He's going to play 40 minutes a night. He's going to put up ridiculous numbers.
And it's going to be scary hours too.
And KD's going to be on the court with him. So
I just want to say like his impact on the culture though of Brooklyn Nets basketball, like to already have a mural of him going up, like it's just so impactful, right? Like there are so many things you can say about James Harden when it comes to his basketball, with what he does in the court, all these things, but like he's just impacting Brooklyn basketball, and he's bringing a new dimension to it that honestly I never even expected to come, because I expected us to be rocking with Kyrie and 7, and that would be it. And I was happy with that. I was ecstatic with that. That team was already going to win the championship. And now we have this man, this transcendent man that's just coming to Brooklyn, here to squash his own narrative, here to win himself a championship. And he's getting that mural put up outside the Barclays Center. And man, I can't think of anyone on this team right now that deserves it more.
No, I said a while ago, man, I know y'all listen to all these episodes, but if you're new here, go back. Very early, I think within like a week or two of Harden being here, I'm like, this is going to be Harden's team. And it is. And I'm hoping that he wins MVP, and I'm hoping that we win the finals and all of that. The writing is on the wall. Let's take a look ahead at the next coming games as we wrap this podcast up. We've got the Lakers on Saturday, and they'll be in Brooklyn and we'll be in Brooklyn. And I already told you guys I was at Tailgate Brooklyn today. If you came out to our first event, I did find some people that were at our first event but didn't say what's up to us. I'm like, why would you pull up to our event and not come introduce yourself? I know some people like are nervous or shy, and I'm not.
Imagine being intimidated by me. Shit.
Right, Hudson is a child. Hudson never even kissed a girl. Like, I'm my bad. Let me not start roasting you. So Saturday Lakers game. We'll be out there from 7 to 11. 7-11, see what I did there? 7 p.m. to 11. And it's going to be a good time. It's going to be warm. Last time it was freezing cold. We've got a better sound system installed. I just went and checked that all out. Hudson and I are going to do the like meet and greet stuff, do the podcast. Then we're going to watch the game at 8:30, have some beers. Well, I'll have some beers. Hudson will not have any alcohol. He's underage. And then, we'll smack the Lakers without LeBron and without AD. And we'll tweet at all those Lakers fans that are in our mentions all the time and be like, this is not what you want. You don't want this smoke. After that, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves.
The return.
D'Lo stands. You D'Lo stands that are listening to the pod. I know you're geeked up for next Monday in Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota. Shout out to our guy Louie in Minnesota repping the Nets. Rep that hard when the Nets come to town. And then next Wednesday, April 14th, the Sixers. Embiid is back. KD is back. I'm ready for that. So expect another podcast. I'm going to try and record the live podcast and put it out, but I can't make any promises on that. And we will have another podcast after the T-Wolves Sixers game, probably next Thursday or Friday. There's just a lot going on. Obviously now the Yankees have started, baseball started. You guys know I'm doing that. Hudson's grinding at school. Things are reopening and capacities are growing, and people, like I said, are vaccinated, and we're getting back to like regular life type stuff. So all is well. And the last thing I want to say without spoiling it is make sure you come out to the event and look fresh in your Nets gear or your Talking Nets merch, because we will have a camera guy there that's filming something special. I don't want to spoil
Don't say
it.
too much. Don't put any type of jinx level energy out in the universe.
I never like to speak on anything because it could potentially jinx it. Who knows? I don't know.
But look,
the world could blow up before Saturday.
It's the spring. Wear your nice clothes. Maybe go to the gym. Get a little pump on. Make sure you got the short sleeves rocking, looking good for some cameras. Maybe if you're scared about rocking the white Air Forces, in the spring. What if it's gonna rain? Break them out. I don't know. It just feels like it might be the right time to do it.
I want this group pic of the Talking Nets fam and the Nets fans in Brooklyn at this outside venue. I want that so bad. We're gonna get that. Let's wrap this thing up. Thank you for leaving voicemails. If you would like to be heard on Talking Nets, call the voicemail. It's 201-870-0461. Make sure you follow us at Talking Nets. You can follow me at Keith McPherson. Hudson Flynn, where can they follow you?
They can follow me at Hudson Flynn.
Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Facebook too. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. YouTube is growing. And obviously people are taking notice because someone's coming to shoot a feature special on us Saturday at Tailgate Brooklyn. Make sure you subscribe to the pod, rate the pod, and write a review. I didn't check to see if we have any new reviews.
I just did. We do not. We have a lot of new ratings, but no reviews.
Take
a couple seconds. Take a couple seconds.
We need y'all, man, as we're growing and as we're walking into the playoffs and it's our world, Nets world. We need y'all to write some reviews. We'll read them on the pod. Hey, we'll see you online. Keep repping, keep doing your thing, and just keep being Nets fans and talking your shit on Nets Twitter and rooting for this team and never wavering on the fact that we're playing for a championship and that we are going to win it this year. The NBA is shook. Hudson, you got anything else?
Keep rocking with us. Twitter's getting close to 10K. Maybe we get something special in the works for whoever our 10,000th follower on Twitter is.
Facts. I mean, it's all coming, man. And that's all we've got. I don't know. That's what I wanted to say. Hit the merch store. If you're watching, this is the first episode I wore the Harden shirt. Hit the merch store. Cop you a free KD. I am the MVP. We got Harden merch, Talking Nets merch. And that's all we've got, man. Appreciate y'all listening. When's the next game? Saturday. And yes, Saturday we will all be together saying, let's go Nets, Brooklyn.
We go hard, go